Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Blue Balance UK and I am Noel. So, what are we doing here today on this lovely sunny, very blustery day where it's about to be very stormy in the UK with aircraft going overhead. It's a lovely day anyway. So I'm going to ask you a question. How many of you have felt stressed before? Have felt worried, have felt anxious? Let me let you into a little secret. Everybody does. Now, me, with over 25 years of policing experience, I can guarantee I've felt them before. So today we're going to look at some coping mechanisms that go beyond grabbing hold of a pint and having a drink as the police would do. You know, let's look at ways in which we can identify the stress and maybe a few simple hints and tricks, which I'll give you 5, which might be able to help you on your daily lives. Now, before we move on to the main part of the video, I just want to say to you all, if you are suffering from stress or anxiety, it's a serious thing. If you do feel that you're in any sort of crisis, you're feeling of self-harm, you're feeling of wanting to end it all, please stop watching this video. You normally hear people saying that, but please stop watching this video, pick up the phone and seek some professional medical attention. Now, if you're in the UK, you can utilise the 111 service, option number 2 I believe it is, and you can speak to a medical professional. But having said that, again, welcome back to Blue Balance UK, and yeah, let's get on with the video. Let's first off identify what stress is. So how is it going to manifest itself? So there's many different ways really. Most notable one really is your emotional. Now, how are you feeling? You know, what's different about today that was, you know, to yesterday or the day before? Are you being a little bit more irritable? You know, are you feeling more emotional? You know, are you getting upset really easy? These could be signs and symptoms of emotional stress. Exhaustion, you know, just not really wanting to deal with anything. A good video out there, this around depression, is about the black dog sitting at the door. You know, is that there sitting at the door? And you will know that. So identifying that you've got an issue is one of the first ways in which you can start to address, because you can't do anything unless you know it's there, you know. So you need to, the wind is really picking up now, so apologies if this sound quality is not the greatest, but don't stress about it. It's only wind at the end of the day. So what's the other ways? Physical stress. How can it come in? It can come in, you know, you could be shaking. You know, the adrenaline shakes sometimes you get, but also you can be shaking from stress. You can be aching, you know, muscles in your neck all cramped up, your shoulders, you know, your joints. You're just feeling like you are, you know, just so tense all the time. You know, you're feeling that. These are some of the physical signs. Headaches. Could be headaches. They could be bang. You could be just feeling that you know, that pulsating in the head. You know, for me, stress always went to my guts. Yeah, and there's plenty of it there. But that, you know, you could feel like cramping over in pain, you know, them stomach clenchings, you know, having to go to the toilet, you know. And then again, the physical stress, which catches on to the emotional side, can also be fatigue. You can feel just so drained of energy. And it's normal. This is what I want to say to you all. It's normal. Now, the one thing you need to know about stress, you know, some stress is good. Some stress is very helpful. It helps you move on in life and do other things. Think about it. If you want to go and run a marathon, you've got to put your body into stress in order to train up to do that marathon. So a little bit of stress is good. It's when we get to that tipping point that really we need to address it. And even with that little bit of stress, it can make you more focused on your career, more focused on your home life. So please don't think all stress is bad. It's not. You know, sometimes it can be a good thing, but let's address ways in which we can deal with it when it's getting that bit much for you, when it's starting to get you to your tipping point. Okay, so now let's look at some ways in which we can actually start addressing this little bit of stress that we're having, or a lot of stress that we may be having. So I'm going to give you 5 simple ways, 5 simple tips that can help you in these circumstances. Now, it's not a one coat fits all or one size fits all type of thing. Take from it what you will. Some of these will work for you, some of them won't. Maybe all of them will work for you. And remember, when we start these little tips, you don't have to go on them full on. You know, you don't have to be running up that hill straight away, you know, at full pace with yourself panting and all that sort of stuff. You can take your time, do it at your pace. This is what's important. It's about you. It's not about me. I know what works for me, how I can deal with my stress. You need to learn what you can do for your stress. So let's look at these 5 simple ways. At the end of the video, I'll also discuss with you a self-help guide that I've created, and I will put the link in the description, so feel free to download that as well. So let's get on to the 5 ways which I think are the best tips that you can use for your stress. Okay, so let's get straight on to the tips now, shall we? So tip number 1, I may feel a bit silly saying this one, but breathing. You've got to breathe. If you don't breathe, you die. We all know that. So, but how are you going to breathe? You know, how are you going to do this to help yourself feel better when everything starts getting on top of you? You know, lots of people say close your eyes, count to 10. Really good for anger, by the way. That is really good for your anger. Unless, of course, you're driving, don't close your eyes. It's really stupid. You know, road rage, closing your eyes, never works. So, breathing, yeah, nice and easy. So, 4, 4, 6, you know, breathing in for 4 seconds. Holding for 4 seconds, which I was just doing there, and then releasing your breath over 6 seconds. 4, 4, 6. That's all you have to remember. Bring it in. So like that. It's as simple as that. Honestly, it works. It builds up the oxygen in your brain, yeah, helps you recenter, helps you refocus. Okay, tip number 2. I haven't done it that way because that's rude in the UK. So tip number 2. Again, sounds really silly, but it's simple and it's easy. You know, mindfulness or grounding, whatever way you want to call it. Yeah, getting in touch with your surroundings. This one links directly with tip number 1 and your breathing. So, what are you going to do for grounding? It's just taking a notice of what's around you. At the moment, I'm here in the countryside. They say no windbreak whatsoever, but that's lovely. I can feel the wind hitting me. I can feel, you know, God's breath, if you like, upon me. So how am I going to do this grounding? It's taking notice of what's around you. So it could be, you know, think of 4 things that you can see. So for me, I can see a river over slightly to my left. You know, I've got the clouds above me, I've got the grass below me, I've got the trees blowing in the wind, which is great. Things you can feel. No, they don't necessarily have to be the tactile touching of the screen. You know, it doesn't have to be. It's what you can feel inside. So again, I'm feeling the wind on my skin. I'm feeling tactile touching of the gate which I've positioned my camera on. Yeah, I'm feeling the warmth of the sun, although it's getting a little bit cloudy. You know, so it's about that. It's about grounding. It's about getting yourself back into a mindfulness space where you can see and feel and appreciate what's around you. You know, it could be birds flying in the sky, as I say, it could be the wind, it could be the sun touching you, it could be the person you're next to and you hold their hand if you've got that person. These are the things that can help with your stress levels. Okay, tip number 3. What's that going to be? Well, again, it's really simple. All of these really are a simple solution to an incredibly difficult problem at times. Exercise. Now, I said about running, I said about marathons. You don't have to do that. If that's your thing, great, do it. It could be playing golf. It could be stretching. It could be like me, going for a walk. Yeah, that exercise, it increases the natural endorphins in your body. It gets you off your sofa, off your couch, off your chair, whatever it may be. It gets you out and about walking. Gets you out and about moving. Me, I have hip issues, as I explained on the last vlog, so I have to be really careful about the type of exercise I can do. Jumping on a bike is a good one for me, which I've done first time for a few days ago. Not really good in today's blustery wind for me, and you know, coming off and hurting me hips, but that's fine. So what do? I come out for a walk, and it's about that. Now, vigorous exercise is brilliant. If you can do that vigorous exercise, if you can go and, you know, pump some iron in the gym, you know, go for a run, do a bit of boxing, martial arts, whatever it may be, It's great, it just lifts that spirit. It helps you forget, and remember, while you're doing that exercise, you're focusing on that and you're forgetting everything else that's going on around you. So you can zero in on what you're doing, and it helps you just let everything else wash away. Okay, so we're now on to tip number 4. So this one is a bit like what I'm doing now. Now, don't think of it as pen and paper all the time, but journaling. You know, I'm journaling my feelings now and my experience now to a camera, which is fine. Or you could write it down. You know, get yourself a diary, get yourself a post-it note, whatever it may be. Just jot something down, jot down how you're feeling. You'll be surprised how it puts things back in perspective when you journal something down, when you write something down. Your problems don't feel as big a lot of the time. You're writing down how you're feeling, you're getting that out, because a lot of the time the stress is where you bottle up everything inside you, and that causes your emotional upset. It causes your physical stress. It causes that gut-wrenching twisting. But by writing it down, it can help. It can help, is the only way I can say it. And the only way to do it is to do it. Now, you may not be the greatest writer in the world. You don't have to be Dickens. Yeah? You don't have to be J.K. Rowling. Just write down what you're feeling. Keep it to yourself. You don't have to show it to anybody. You could write that down. And there's other terms you can use as well. When you're journaling, you've got that feelings. They're all on your page. What can you do with them? You can then shred them. You can then burn them. You can do whatever. Obviously, safety around matches and all that. But, you know, you get rid of him. Then what you're doing, you're letting all that go off into the ether. Yeah? That can be very therapeutic towards you. So journaling is a great, great tool. Okay, so we're now on to tip number 5. So this is the final one for this video. It's obviously not the only tips that we've got, 5 and there's much more. But the 5th one for you is quite simple, a bit again like I'm doing now. Talk to somebody. You know, if you're having issues, go and have a chat with somebody. Now, it could be a friend, it could be a colleague, it could be a mental health professional, whatever it may be. These things can help you. So I would encourage you to do that talking. You don't have to spend thousands on therapy when you could pop down to the local park and have a chat with your mate or the local pigeon. Anyway, so that's my 5 top tips for you today. Hopefully you'll have some benefit from that. Now, I have created a self-help guide, which is free. Just go onto the link in the description, click on that link, it'll take you through to Google Docs, and then I'll be notified that you would like a copy of that, and I'll make sure that you have access to get that copy. So, to end this video, and I'm doing it just the right time because the heavens are start to open, I wish you all well. God bless to you all. I hope this has been of some use to you, and please like, share, subscribe if you found value. And again, thank you for your time. As I said on my very first video, that's the most important thing you can give to people, your time. So I'm Noel, as I say, I'm a retired police officer, dealt with stress my whole life. It's up to you whether you would like to use these tips or not. So have a great day, and I'll see you on the next vlog.